Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome to this epic podcast. This is a place where you are encouraged and you have absolute freaking permission to unapologetically go after all of your dreams, all of your visions, all of your things on your vision board, like everything that your heart desires. I'm your host, Angharad, the High Vibe Babe, and I believe that we're all in this life to expand and experience our wildest dreams. If one of us can have it, then we all can. So that is the aim of this podcast. Each week, I'll either be going solo or have guests with the aim to inspire, uplift you, and give you the tools for you to live your most epic AF life and business possible. You can find me on Instagram with the handle at High Vibe Babe. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hey loves, I'm Angharad here, High Vibe Babe. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so damn excited. Today, I'm interviewing Tara. She's an intuitive healer and spiritual coach and channel and guides for star seeds, healers and light leaders, activating their soul's holistic blueprint to heal and awaken at light speed to live a life led by their intuition while fulfilling their soul's work. Welcome, Tara, to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Angharad, for having me here. I'm so excited to connect with you today.
Oh, yay. Me too. Would you mind sharing with everyone your Instagram handle so we can put the voice to the face?
Most certainly. So you can find me, Facebook stalk me, Instagram stalk me at Rediscover Your Soul with Tara Goddard. So that is my Instagram handle.
Yeah, cool. We'll drop it in the show notes as well for everyone to jump on and have a look. Would you mind introducing yourself past the official bio and tell us a little bit about your journey and your spiritual awakening and all the yummy things?
Yes. So for those of you that don't know me, I am and have been always been spiritually attuned and always been aware of energies or being able to see things that not everybody else was able to see or perceive. And that kind of led to creating like interesting story of myself, even as like a little girl. And I truly believe that we're all guided here for a reason. I believe that we're all placed in life and across this world based on total divine synchronicity, creating opportunities for each and every one of us to really grow on such a soulful level. And as a girl, for me, what that meant was when I could see or perceive things that not everybody around me was attuned to or felt. What that meant for me is that I didn't necessarily feel like I was seen and heard as a child. And in some instances, as a child, sharing my experiences, like waking up at 3:00 in the morning and having spirits sitting on the end of my bed going, hey, let's chat. Let's talk because I've got messages for you to share and pass on to other people. Relaying that information in certain environments meant that it wasn't necessarily perceived well in a society back when. I'm 33 years old now, especially in like a schooling environment. And what that meant was I kind of took it on board as other people didn't have this awareness that I had and placed this label on myself of being weird, or that if I did speak into or share information that spirit and source energy, whatever you want to call it, or maybe past loved ones, had so divinely came to like gift me with these like catalyst insights and downloads and advice to give to people to help improve and better their life. Because I couldn't articulate or have the knowledge and awareness as to where this originated from, especially being a little girl, I had to be very cautious in the environments that I was in when sharing this information. So what that really meant is when I became of the age of around 7 to 8 years old and I had the capacity and had the awareness of how people emotionally reacted to what I was sharing with them, I soon became to shut these beautiful gifts or these heightened awarenesses that I had, this ability to be able to connect to spirit and source energy down, which was now upon reflection, like I so just want to go back and hug that little girl and be like, you're safe, you're seen, you're heard, and like everything that you're speaking into was of like divine truth, and don't suppress your gifts, like it is okay. So it became a beautiful opportunity later on in life to go back and really heal these wounds, really heal these parts of myself and do some inner child work to really allow myself now in this role that I play, this leadership role that I play, this person that's able to gift people the safety and sacred spaces to be seen and heard, embodying their intuition and their beautiful gifts and abilities and attunements that they have in a safe way, not having to go through all the layers that I had to break down myself and all these limiting beliefs and all these outdated old paradigm concepts of that you can't share this side of yourself, and if you do, it's not safe to do that, or if you do, you get the labels of being weird. And some roads that some of my friends have been on is sharing this aspect inside of themselves. It's a real thing that if you're not in the right environment, and this is going back years and years ago, you were deemed mentally unstable. So one of my deepest passions is breaking down these old paradigm beliefs of this is your innate natural ability, this is your natural state. Using your intuition is actually one of the greatest gifts that you can use to navigate your way through your everyday life, and that this isn't weird, it is normal, and that you are safe now and you're no longer going to be persecuted for it. And that's kind of where my passion started, was creating sacred, safe spaces for people to truly embody this aspect and this side of themselves. And it's not a side, this is just who we are.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I saw a post the other day on Instagram that I shared where the quote was like, being supernatural is supernatural, you know? Like it is natural to be supernatural, you know, but we've like made this big thing. You know, I also wish to ask you, you know, like the trauma you're talking about, you know, when you're young and it's not safe to see all these, to have these experiences. Do you have any links to past lives with that? Has that come up for you at all?
Absolutely. And this is something that I'm really exploring at the moment. This is very present for me because not only was this a reality in this lifetime, this is something that I was persecuted for in past lifetimes. So this is the healing journey around this is very multifaceted, which is exciting. So it's so much deeper and intricate than just doing this inner child work. It's you really get to work with all aspects of yourself across all realities and all timelines. So it's so fascinating. It's like the more you remember or the more you learn, it's like the more you realize that you don't actually know. And it's like you open up this Pandora box of like exploring just like so many different concepts and ideologies, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like the more you zoom in, the more particles there are to see, and the more you zoom in, the smaller it gets, and it doesn't even, like, there's more to see. It's not, you think there's going to be less to see, but there's not. It's like, reminds me of when we went to Europe and did our big OE. I left wanting to see like way more than I did before I went there. You know, like, my list was like 10 times as long of things I didn't get to do, you know, which is just, it's the same sort of aspect, which is really epic. And I actually, just the way you're describing it, it's like pulling on my heartstrings, you know, your journey, because there are a lot of similarities throughout both of our journeys through like my life, but also, yeah, I was aware, it was brought to my awareness a year, 2 years ago, I don't know, in the distant, in the close, what's that thing called, past, that, yeah, of past life stuff where I was, you know, killed for being a witch and stuff. So it definitely, those fears just don't even seem like really that rational in comparison to like how we get treated these days. And then it's like, if it feels a lot deeper than that, that's when I often go to like the Acacia and find the answers, and 9 times out of 10 there's like links right to the parallel lives and all the timelines, because it's not even past lives, it's all the same thing, it's all like happening parallel, but our human brain can't really always concept that.
I know, right? It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's beautiful and just incredible. There's so many layers. Okay, cool. So that's blimmin' epic. So do you want to explain your business, sort of your business model now, and like what you do and what you focus on, and how this has transpired into like, you know, this being a business for you?
Yeah, so again, as I said, like the passion of like just creating a sacred space of people being seen and heard, and really not being afraid of their gifts. I don't really like using the word gifts, but people, again, it's like a human thing. You kind of understand what we're talking about when you're talking around like spirituality and like all the embodiments of these like heightened awarenesses that you can have to like use in your toolkit, and really create sacred spaces for people to not keep them a secret because of forcing yourself to like conform to these old paradigm beliefs of fear. So that kind of led into me creating this beautiful like sacred space called my Spirit Circle Psychic Development Group. And that was kind of like the first platform that I created for people to have this like incubator of growth, to really like learn and understand the mastery of like them being this intuitive channel, this intuitive being, and how they download information. What ways are they perceiving this information through their intuitive channel, through multiple different ways, like for example using their clairs. And really when they understand how they're interpreting this information and how it's coming in, well, how can they then use that to really use it in a purposeful way to anchor in more high frequencies of spiritual alignment, or make decisions in your everyday life. Like if you are given a promotion at work and you're not too sure whether or not, like, is it in alignment with you? Is it going to support you with where you want to go in like your bigger picture, like dream and vision? Just using these tools, they can be applied in all areas of your life. So this is a beautiful place to understand the basics of what it means to be an intuitive being, and not only use yourself as a channel and interpret messages from your higher self or your spirit team or your galactic team, whomever it is that you feel aligned to work with, but also understand like the basics of like working with like energy and creating energetic boundaries and learning how to work with yourself and heal. As I mentioned, this is a big part of my journey, learning how to heal like past traumas and release them in a beautiful process, like a beautiful energetic process. So working with different areas of like understanding how they can work with themselves to interpret information, learn to really activate like their psychic senses, their superpowers, their third eye, or work with them on all areas, not only just like a spiritual area or their spiritual self, but working with them on like a mental and emotional self and their physical self, and working from like this holistic framework of catering to needs in all areas of their life, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So it all interflows in a beautiful complementary kind of way. So that was kind of the first step for me, is to create this sacred space for people to have access to all the codes, all the knowledge and wisdom and everything that I have experienced in my life, bundled up in a beautiful gift for them to reduce their timelines of having to experience potentially some of the lessons that I've learned along my life's journey.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. And you're right. It is about the integration, right? It's about the breaking it down and then being able to integrate into everyday life, because that is so important, right? And I think for us, like really spiritual people, is often like I work with a lot of clients. I have both sides, right? You probably do as well. Some clients are like really woo and need grounding in the human. Like, how do I actually have a strategy? Like, what do I do with my Instagram sort of thing? Like, what are reels? And then some clients are like, want to access and have like a safe place to open up and explore and be able to integrate, their intuition into their life, right? And not just like have the stuff and they need to know how to like integrate it, right? Do you have like that with your clients as well?
Most certainly. I have like them from both sides of the spectrum, and there are the people that wanting to just work solely on like their personal development, but then I have the woo-woo people that are all about spirituality and like really embodying like their inner psychic and like really using these skill sets like every second of the day to like really open up their awareness and their expansion. But what I find is actually they both come hand in hand. And the people that just come in for the personal development aspect, it's like, well, your intuition is also a part of that. And then when you're working on your intuition and like your spiritual side, you have to go and work on yourself in order to break through that glass ceiling. Because if you don't work on your fears, or you don't work on your limiting beliefs, and you don't work on like truly embodying, working in the 5D and with this new paradigm way of being, then you're going to hit that glass ceiling. You're not going to be able to break through it until you deal with your own shit. So it comes hand in hand, and they're both super complementary. And it's when one person comes just to experience and like develop themselves and work through their goals. It's funny when they're like, oh my gosh, like I had this gut feeling to go and do this, and then this happened, and this opened up the door for this. And I'm like, that's your intuition. That's your higher self guiding you. So it's funny when they have those moments of like thinking that they would never be able to work with this side of them, and then they're like, I'm like, you're already doing it. Like, this is it. You're overcomplicating it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I love that. I love it a lot. And you're right, it's hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. You can't have, it's hard to cook with just one hand. You're using it as a lot easier. It's going to be a lot more efficient. Okay, in regards to gifts, this is something that I get quite asked quite a lot, and I have my version of the answer, but I've never heard anyone else. So I would love to know what your answer to this question would be, which is, I get a lot of people like, people want to see, right? They want to see, they want to see. And it's something that's always been so natural for me, and I have so many layers and all the things, but a lot of people just haven't experienced that. So a lot of people ask like how to develop it. How do they do that? What would be your answer for that?
So do you mean how do they see, as in like seeing like clairvoyantly, opening up their third eye? Oh, I love this topic. All right. So where do we start? For me, when we talk about gifts, I just want to frame it up as that everybody is gifted. There's not just an elite selected group of people that have the gifts to see or have the gifts to use their intuition. Everybody has this is your natural innate ability. This is your birthright to embody this part of you. But what happens is that, again, if you don't have access to the knowledge or awareness, or you're not in an environment that helps you grow and nourish this side of you, like taking you back to me as a little girl, the reason why I kind of learned things the hard way, or I wasn't necessarily supported in my environment, which is all part of my story, and I see now the higher perspective of everything, is because I wasn't born into a spiritual family. I was born into a very Catholic family that was very like staunch on religion. And this really didn't fit into that spectrum. I didn't quite fit, which is where I kind of felt like I was always an outcast, really. I was always embodying that label of being weird, or I didn't quite understand their way of being. But everybody has these gifts, and when you're in environments that support and are able to like nourish you and having like the knowledge and awareness of how to embody and use these gifts, that's when it's like when you go to the gym and you want to start like squatting, and like you've got this goal of like wanting to squat 100 kgs, and well, of course you're not going to be able to do that on the first day. You are going to have to work and build up your muscles. Just like the same thing with seeing, opening up your third eye, you're going to have to build up your intuitive muscles to really have that crystal clear, like crystalline clarity of being able to see. But even then, that may not be the way that you're meant to see clairvoyantly. Maybe it's just meant to be like little sprinkles of, when you're a child and you draw pictures and they're all the colors are kind of like murky and put together, and it's beautiful, but it's obviously not like a crystal clear picture for you to be able to like pinpoint exactly what that beautiful children's creation is. And so we get sometimes caught up in what it should be rather than figuring out what it is for us uniquely. But how to open up your third eye to truly be able to see, and this is like going to be everybody's like eye rolling moment. It's literally by creating space to go within and to really just set the intention. Hey, spirit team, hey, galactic team, hey, higher self. Like, I really would like to understand what it means to work with my clairvoyance, to be able to truly see through my third eye, to truly see what it is outside of this third dimensional reality that we reside in. And with that intention and sitting in and doing, like, practicing opening this up, for me, one of the ancient techniques that I use to really open up my third eye, because I've always been able to see, but because I blocked it out, it's kind of like I had to go through further attunements to be able to, I guess, see more clearly again. And one of my favorite techniques is literally just sitting down, just bringing my intention and focus back to my breath, setting the intention of what it is they're actually doing. So opening up your third eye, opening up this clear sight, and visualizing a golden ball external to you, bringing it into your third eye. And then when it hits your third eye, even if you'd like to visualize, and even if at this point you can't visualize, because obviously that's what you're working towards opening and activating, just know that this is happening through your intention of this process. And then when this beautiful golden bubble hits your third eye, if you'd like to visualize, I like to, when you're putting mascara on your eyes and it's like your eyes have to really open really wide, to like visualize my eye expanding, my third eye expanding. And then when that beautiful golden white light hits your body, allowing that to just fill you up with pure divine light from like love and expansion, and really like learning to expand your energy, to raise your energy frequency and vibration, to embody this attunement. And another practice that I do, and I do this actually with my children are very intuitive, as all children are, because, well, obviously they've just come into this world and they haven't gone through the developmental milestones to have this awareness of this third dimensional reality. They're just kids. They're just tapped into their inner child, which is delicious. But a fun technique that I love to do with them is just getting them to close their eyes and count from 1 to 10, which is a great way to teach them. But teach them with their eyes closed and visualize the number for 10 seconds. So visualizing a 1 for 10 seconds in front of you, then moving through to a 2 throughout, obviously 1 to 10. And this is strengthening your psychic muscles just through these little fun practices of really helping you open up and activate your third eye, which also in tandem is helping you activate your pineal gland, which is your activation center to really open up yourself, being this beautiful intuitive channel.
That's an amazing answer. That's beautiful. I love all those tangible steps. And I hadn't thought about doing that with my kids. That's really beautiful. It is something that we've had those conversations with our kids. My kids have been able to see from a very young age. So, and then having really religious grandparents on one side has been interesting in their conversations. They're like, Mummy loves crystal and I astral travel every night. And Gran's like, what the fuck? No. So like it's little techniques, like actually that's a good point. Like what do you say to your kids? So for instance, what I said to my kids when Gran, when some people don't believe in the same thing, right? As I say, well, they don't believe that, but that's okay, and that they can't do that, but doesn't mean you can't, What do you what sort of conversations do you have with your kids? How would you describe?
You've pretty much summed it up so beautifully and so perfectly. It's teaching them that it's okay to have a different opinion to somebody else, and that their opinion is their truth, and that's okay. It doesn't really matter. It's like, again, bringing it back to like working with like myself. Obviously I'm my first ever student, and then working with the beautiful caliber of women that I get to share and guide and hold space for, is that other people's opinions don't matter. The only opinion that matters is the opinion of yourself. So teaching children at such a young age that it's okay to have different belief systems, especially when we're looking at different generations, and that when they know that this is their truth and that they're not going to be wavered in embodying their truth like I was when I was a little girl. I could have taught the classroom at primary school because of the direct connection that I had and what I was bringing through, but it wasn't the right time and people weren't ready for that. And obviously I was 5 years old, so like that's a bit weird in traditional society to be a teacher when you're 5. So if we can pass this information and these codes of wisdom onto our children to be just unshakable and like their embodiment of what their unique truth is, oh my gosh, can you just imagine what they're going to be like later on in life? Like, that's just like mind blowing. And on that note, you mentioned, and I felt really cool to just bring it back in, is sharing astral traveling. Astral traveling, my kiddies, that's something that they do as well. And for any like parents out there that their children are coming up and sharing like certain experiences of what they get to do whilst they're astral traveling, a beautiful technique, and you also touched on it earlier as well, the importance of grounding, is doing another technique where you're creating like the golden bubble. For me and for my children, they also relive past life experiences at like 3 o'clock in the morning, perfect time, right? So they would wake up from like astral traveling or just processing everything, like their soul's memories, and they would relive experiences from their past life. They were in this altered state of consciousness, but they're awake, they're moving their body. And some of the things that they were reliving in this altered state of consciousness, like physically moving around the house and yelling and screaming, was they were literally purging and cleansing unfavorable experiences or unfavorable ways of passing over a challenge, like challenges that they were facing, and their somewhat like waking state. So a beautiful technique, especially for children. Like, they obviously don't have the intellectual capacity to understand everything, nor do they need to know. They just need to know the tools. So one of the things that I taught my children is that when they go to bed, just create, and this is not from a place of protecting yourself from a fear base, like you must do this because if you don't, then all these bad things are going to happen to you. No, it's a form of self-care. It's a way of protecting yourself and just securing in your vibration, especially when you don't have the intellect or understanding as to what you're experiencing or astral traveling as a kid, because they don't get all the beautiful facets to it. So going to bed, and I get them to visualize them just jumping in when they're all snugly and all tucked in, and they've got their 30 crystals underneath the pillow that they've picked out for that night to sleep with, is a beautiful golden bubble to immerse themselves in. And then I just literally get them to recite, to embody their vibration, their frequency that they want to hold throughout them going to sleep, and just confirming like, you are safe, mummy loves you, do you love mummy? Yes I do. And then going through like the whole family of sharing love and cats and dogs and favorite toys. And they like to visualize themselves because they're very visual and work with their third eye, of like bringing in their favorite toy to bed or their favorite food or a bottle of water. So they've got all their toolkit prepared for them going through their beautiful journey astral traveling throughout the night. And then when they wake up in the morning, they just go and get a pin, or like you do with a balloon, and they just pop it, and they're ready to feel in and like play with all the energies and people around them throughout the day. So that's a beautiful sacred grounding process, just nurturing them from a place of love, just solidifying the vibration to help them through whatever beautiful work that they're doing in their dreams.
That's freaking incredible and beautiful, and I totally, my kids experience a similar sort of range of things that you were just describing as well. And I think it's really the stuff that we have learned in our life, like the hard lessons, the thing that it took us a long time to figure out. It's amazing. It's like the best gift ever to be able to teach our kids that, while they're still toddlers and young kids, like to be able to teach them that the things that we wish we knew is the most beautiful circle ever. Like, and just to circle back to what we were saying before about other people's opinions, and imagining the world where they're like so solid in who they are and what they believe, and the fact that their opinion matters the most, but also like the love and respect that everyone else gets to believe what they want, because everyone's creating their own reality, and it's beautiful, and
Mm-hmm.
it's respected, right? That we can all respect one another and each other's differences. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with us just because we're different. There's nothing wrong with them because they're different.
Absolutely. And it's just so beautiful. And it again creates a safe environment for them to really share when it comes to sharing things that maybe they're not so confident with, or their intuitive gifts. It creates that space for them to share it confidently with others, knowing that that is literally their truth. This is their reality. This is where they reside in. This is like their magic. And like, it's just, this is like next level of awareness, like, and embodiment, which is so awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I'm so happy we went down the parenting route. Like, oh my gosh, this makes my heart so warm. Okay, so have you got any last final words for someone who is opening up? They might or might not have kids, for while they're on their spiritual journey. Like, is there anything coming through right now that they need to hear?
Yes, what I would really like to touch on for me, and again, this is my perspective, and again, going back to my journey, is that when you're really opening up and you're attuning yourself to different energies around you, this can be quite overwhelming. You can be quite sensitive. Maybe you might realize that you have allergies to certain foods, or you're realizing that your physical body has got these maybe aches and pains, or maybe you're going from one side of the spectrum through this duality of this third dimensional reality, right? We get to experience emotions from like lower vibration to higher vibration, which again is like one of our greatest gifts of creating the opportunity to heal and realize and see things from a higher perspective. But sometimes I feel like the spiritual awakening process is defined in a way of like, it's all light, it's all magical, it's really easy. One day you just wake up and you just know all this shit. It's not, it's for me, and a lot of the beautiful women that I work with a lot of people that have gone down the mental health route, that suffer from, and again, I don't really like the label depression, because for me, I see depression as an opportunity of growing on a soulful level, an opportunity to become more aligned to the things that you like as opposed to things that you dislike, to have more energy, to process energy, to process your emotions, because energy is emotions and motion. So it's an opportunity to go within and find out when you're in this mental state and this place of exploring, feeling unhappy, feeling sad, feeling unmotivated, to go within and ask yourself to heal. Well, why do I feel this way? What has triggered me? What is this linked to? What is the root cause? And then peeling back the onions of the layer, like the layers of the onion, I mean, and then figuring out, well, where does this originate from? And then asking yourself, well, then how can I get to the opposite of this embodiment of emotion that I'm residing in now, this depressive state? How can I go within to find out what is in alignment with me to make me happy, to feel more joyful, to feel more motivated, to feel more worthy, to feel more confident? And that there is when this beautiful metamorphosis process happens, because you're asking yourself the right questions instead of embodying and just staying in those emotions. You're transmuting the energy, you're healing yourself.
Yes.
You're then aligning to obviously the vibrations and frequencies that you want to reside in. Not saying that we're never not going to feel again and we might dip back and have a lull, but when you figure out what makes you happy, what brings you most joy, what is going to get you into this total blissed out state, and you realize that that all aligns with your passions, what lights you up, your hobbies, and when you can spend more time doing this is how you're literally going to naturally reside in these emotions. And when you can take that one step at a time and do something each day, and then hopefully create more time in your day to do more of what just brings you this total bliss and joy, that's when literally you are going to crack yourself open to allow more light to come in, to really open up your capacity to truly see and be truly awakened to this wonderful world that's available to us.
Oh my gosh, I love this. so freaking much. Okay. I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolute freaking pleasure. And I know people are going to be like, how can I find this woman? What is she doing? So obviously we've shared about your Instagram. Where else can people come and hang out with you?
So on Facebook, again, it's the same as my Instagram handle, Rediscover Your Soul with Tara Goddard. And also everything is showcased on my website, which is transformwithtaragoddard.com.
Oh, yay. Cool. And do you have anything coming out? What's sort of happening early 2021 for you?
Oh my gosh, 2021 is going to be an incredible year. I have got a sacred immersion in nature, which is, it's going to be so delicious. It's going to be so next level out the gate. We're talking about cosmic ancient healing. We're talking about working with sacred plant-based medicines and going on journeys, bathing underneath the starlight, energy healings. It's going to opening up light portals and doing like the most incredible cosmic things of really activating your light body and just lighting up your soul.
Holy mackerel. Okay, when is that happening? Give dates.
I have been guided to hold the space for the sacred immersion in nature on March the 12th. So I'm just putting everything in the motion and creating all the things and the platforms to be able to share this. It is going to be such an intimate, sacred space for the first time that I hold this event. It's only going to be for six people that are ready to go so freaking deep, that are ready to truly embody this cosmic part of them themselves. And it's going to be next level.
Wow. Okay. Well, get me the details, boo, because I'm freaking keen as a bean. Oh my gosh, that would be so epic. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your light and your wisdom and just your beautiful energy. I love your energy, like so freaking much. Yeah. Thank you so much, babe.
No, thank you. It was such an honor to co-create with you.
Yay. Okay. Take care. And thank you everyone for listening. Bye.
Bye.
If you have enjoyed this episode, I would adore if you would screenshot it, chuck it up on your stories with your favorite takeaway moment, and tag me at Hi Vibe Babe on Instagram so that more people can see this and get this content and get this message out there to really shape and change and impact other people's lives. Do you desire to be around more high vibe women who really get you, who encourage you, who support you no matter what? Yeah, well, guess what? I have a place that you belong. It is called High Vibe Babes Community. It is a free Facebook group and I would love to have you in there. There are so many free trainings and epicness in this group, so please get your booty in there. It would mean the world if you would subscribe to this podcast, do the reviews, the rating, the stars, all of the things. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to chat with you on the next episode. I'm sending you all of the vibes and all of the love. Over and out from Angharad, the High Vibe Babe.